Oh, Mike Swift, I gotta tell you,
What do
I
you got to tell me?
am, I am like so forgetful now. It drives me insane. Like I have to make like three trips in and out of places because I forgot to grab what I was gonna grab and everything else. And like if I set up for a gig, it's taking me twice as long to set up and tear down because I just forget what my system was. It's driving me crazy. I've become the like old man that tells the same story seven times over because I forgot that I told someone the first six times. It's frustrating.
So what you're telling me is essentially you become me.
Yeah, pretty much. Whatever. Anyway, this is what's on your mind. It's the June edition of the June editions. That's Mike Swift. I'm Stephen Lewis, and uh, I know. Feel free and laugh at my misery. It's okay. Yeah, but you're the only. Yeah, but you're the only African American I know that said the other day, and I heard it. Awesome sauce.
Stephen Lewis, I'm the only African American you know.
That's true. You are my token black friend. Anyway,
Uh, I did say awesome sauce, and you know what? I'm
yeah,
okay in that.
you
I'm
really did.
okay. I'm okay in that.
It's lingered with me for a while too. I'm just like, I thought that's what like moms who drive around in minivans jamming the Lifehouse hanging by a moment. See, hanging by a moment would say this song is
Yeah,
awesome sauce. Don't you guys think?
song sauce. Don't you guys think this song is totally awesome
I
sauce?
mean,
I
to be
love it.
fair, that song is awesome sauce, but
It
still,
is awesome sauce.
you
And
know.
you know what? I'm still okay with saying the word awesome sauce. And it was in the moment. It was to a complete stranger, and I was purposely being cheesy because, it's a part of my job. And yeah, I have no shame in the fact that I said awesome sauce.
I'm gonna give you a choice on what we can talk about. We can talk
Hmm.
about. I can do a musical topic, or I can do a this or that topic. Which would you prefer?
Well, I always love musical topics, so let's go with music for 500, please.
Want to go with music for 500. Okay. Because what music kind of led me to either one of these topics. I was listening the other day. You ever get um I guess it all kind of go into the same thing. You ever get like hear a lyric and the first time you hear it, it doesn't bother you. The next 150 times you hear it, it doesn't bother you. And then all of a sudden one day that lyric hits you differently than it ever did before.
We've kind of had a similar topic about this before, and yeah, absolutely. Like yes, it has happened where it's just boom. It's like, whoa, wait. Yeah,
So the
yes.
other day, Matchbox 20 Push came upon a playlist, and there's a lyric in that song that says, "And I don't think I've ever been loved by a hand that touched me." And I was like, you know what?
Ooh, just in that moment, yeah. Yeah, that hit me different.
Outside of my family, and even that's questionable at times, outside of my family, like I 100% that believe that lyric to be true. And which leads me to where I'm going today. Have you ever had music that you loved, but now you hear it differently and you almost don't want to hear it at all because it a band represents a time in your life and a relationship in your life.
Half of my former band's set list, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely resounding yes. I get what you're saying.
There's a band that everyone hates called Nickelback. And I have
Mhm.
always loved Nickelback. I think I even did a radio bit about this one day because I feel like Chad Kroger wrote the soundtrack to my life with every song, like with every Nickelback song, as cheesy as those are. But Nickelback, over the course of time, despite everybody's hatred for them, because I've always argued this too. You can say you hate Nickelback because the cool thing to do is to hate Nickelback. But if it's a summer night and you've got a cold beverage in your hand, alcoholic or otherwise, and Nickelback is on stage playing songs, you will know and sing along to every goddamn word of every song, despite your quote unquote hatred for said band. Would you agree or disagree?
There's a slight disagreement, but no, for the most part, I can say I know a lot of Nickelback songs.
Right.
There are individuals that I would know factually, wouldn't know a single lyric, but would know at least one or two of the hits.
But where I'm going is, and I wonder how other people, feel. In fact, all this kind of topic is going to end up tying together anyway. So I don't know why I gave you a choice. Why, like, I don't know how other people feel. Like, there's some people that I absolutely adore, and their wedding song was "Everything I Do It for You" by Bryan Adams, the theme to Robin Hood,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Costner Robin Hood. And now, whenever I hear that song, I think of them and I smile because I know how much it means to them.
Right,
But
right.
when I hear songs, because Nickelback kind of became the band that was a big part of my relationship. You can't see it now because I don't have anything on my walls, but I have a giant Nickelback frame of pictures with the band from about 7 or 8 different tour stops over the course of however long or whatever. So like Nickelback became this, oh, Nickelback's coming to town, we should go see him kind of thing. And and what made me think of this the other day is I heard Far Away and I can't even listen to it anymore. Like I just, nope, not today, Satan. And like switch it off. So that's what I was kind of wondering, which made me start to think about other things. So last night I fell down the rabbit hole of not being able to sleep, and I started watching like all kinds of videos from like the early 2000s and whatever. And Eve 6, Here's to the Night came on. Do you remember that song?
Used to do that song with Destiny.
Oh, then you do. But it was,
Yes, absolutely. Oh
but I
my God.
watched,
Like, and it's funny as you said that the lyrics just poured in. Like, it's one of those things where you don't think about it and then you think about it, and just the entire lyrics just went like almost downloaded to my brain.
I,
So,
I watched the video last night and
ooh,
I started reading the YouTube comments on it.
okay.
And I was never like a gigantic fan of this song. Like I thought it was cool, but in the video, they're walking around filming each other with a digital camcorder, which is something you don't do now because you just have a phone and you would do
Mm-hmm.
this on your phone. But the
Right.
comments are wild. Like the people born in 82, graduated high school in 2000, love this song. Middle aged 80s baby checking in for my dose of nostalgia. This song is the epitome of being young Gen X or elder millennial. This was us. We were this. We had nothing but promise, nothing less than our future and our dreams, and we were going to save the world. Now all we have are these memories. And then it's brings back so many great memories of the early 2000s before everything went to hell. I wish I could go back to this type of Friday or Saturday night. We did not know how great we had it then, which I 100%
Mm-hmm.
agree. But
Mm-hmm.
like all these messages, like I was just sitting there like, God, what I would not give to relive some of those moments. But it was just showing up at somebody's house and somebody had a keg and you had the solo cups and people were filming or whatever. And it was just a weird like trip to listen to it. But it just kind of it hit me differently than I would have ever like if that song would have came on a playlist, I probably would have just skipped past it and went to something else. But for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
it popped up in a music video last night, and I was just like, you know what? This is different now. But it kind of makes me wonder, you know, and I've wondered this for a while. There's the age old saying, it's better to have and to have lost than to never have it all.
Mm,
And I could not
mm-hmm.
fundamentally disagree with the statement more. And I think it stems from my own life because I don't know anything. I know nothing about my biological father. I know nothing about that side of the family. And for years, people would ask me, "Hey, do you miss your real dad?" And my response was no. And my reasoning was, you cannot miss someone you've never had or something you've
Mm-hmm.
never had. And I
Okay.
think, like, now, as I'm like taking stock in my life and like organizing things and preparing for things, like I look back and I go, when it comes to relationships, the whole it's better to have loved and lost than never loved at all. I 100% disagree because I think the same thing would apply. If you've never had it, you would never you can't miss what you don't have or what you've never had. Does that make
Mm.
any kind of sense whatsoever?
It makes sense, but knowing knowing you being the fly on the wall, that's the bitterness talking.
Yeah.
Because because you're 100% right. Whether it was good or bad, it's better than never to have had at all. Because in the end you will still wonder and dream and hope and wish and go, God, I wish it would have been this. I wish I would have had an experience like this.
See,
And
but I'm the opposite because now I would like all I do is wish I wouldn't have wasted my time.
yes, and I understand where you're coming from with that. But at the same time, you can't deny that if it never would have happened, you would wonder. You would wonder and you would speculate, well, is it me? What's wrong with me? You do it now. There's I'm broken. and
I
I
am.
and I'm not laughing at that. And I'm not laughing that at you. I'm laughing just in the humor that you and I have shared
Sure.
over the successes and fails throughout both of our lives. But
Yeah.
but I know you well enough to be able to say that had you not had certain experiences in your life, you would sit there and wonder and break it down and mull over the fact that there is something wrong with you to not be able to experience certain things that you
Yeah.
have experienced, whether they were good or bad in the end.
I can't help but wish that it never would have happened because I think I would feel better about it and having never had it having it happen, especially knowing how it ended. Like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze at the end of the day. Like, and I know that's probably a mean and heartless thing to say, but it's 100% true. At the same time, music is such a big part of your lives. You apply certain songs to certain times. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's just interesting to me how, and I'm sure other people have that, you know, because if you're with someone, when does their song become our song? You know what I mean? Or it becomes your song too. And then you get to that point where you're like, I don't ever want to hear this again. You know what I mean? It's just a weird kind of.
But you're telling yourself something wasn't real when at least some point in time it was.
Yeah, but if it's only real one sided, it's not really real. Now you're still stuck in a
No,
fantasy world.
no, because Stephen,
I can
like
daydream all
like
along. That doesn't make it real.
that's what I mean though. You're telling yourself that something wasn't. You're in the desert, dying of thirst,
Sounds fun.
and you come across an oasis, and that oasis, even though
Mine would be a mirage.
see you're already trying to blow apart the analogy, and I'm trying to be so careful. And I hope you can see this because this is almost painful. And I'm flipping you the bird so hard right now.
Mike told me I was in
Um,
the desert and I came across a big fountain of water. When I went to go into it, it was just sand.
you find okay, so let's say you find a small body of water. Just it was just enough to be able to wet your whistle and at least give you some kind of substance.
At one point in time, it might have been American flag blue, but by the time I found it, it was filled with algae.
I I want to be mad about that. But you found a clever way to just get your little jab in.
Maybe I should. Maybe you should say that you found a pool of algae, but you also found some hydrogen peroxide, and you might be able to clear out the algae. No, okay, fine. I'll allow you to make your analogy.
You make my head hurt sometimes.
I make my head hurt sometimes.
So maybe you every once in a while, what you should do is shh.
Oh, we're using our we have our listening hats on. Okay. Now I see.
Mine's a tiger's hat, but yours, I don't know. No, okay, so back to my analogy here. Let's just say for the sake of things, you find a very tiny little what you can even call it a puddle of water in the middle of the desert. And it was just enough for you to be able to drink from. And what you're doing, despite the fact that it gave you even the slightest little drink of water, you're still calling it an oasis, or I'm sorry, a mirage.
But
I
what if I was
think
so thirsty and that water wasn't enough to sustain me and the sun was beating down on me and I had no place to go but the
did
roads in
you
the
at
desert?
least get a drink of water? Did you not get a drink of water?
No, I would have had Peaches with me and I would have let her have the water
See,
first.
you're and that the fact that you're not you're avoiding my question because I think you see what I'm trying to say here is the
I do,
fact
but I
that
think it doesn't apply to me.
even though it does apply to you because despite the fact that you want to sit here and tell me that there was no
I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And I think, I can see where you would think that it would apply to normal people. But I'm what we would call abnormal.
Steven, yeah, okay, whatever. You're not normal people, but still, I've been around you. My God, I've known you for almost 20
Long
years.
time,
Oh my
long
God.
time. I know it's scary, right? But
It's
again, circling back around to the music thing. So it's just interesting to see your relationships in life make you love or hate certain things, because I'm pretty sure you've been in a relationship where you might not have gravitated towards a song or an artist, but because your significant other did, you started to.
oh, Boys to Men, I completely avoid now. Like and I loved Boys to Men.
Right.
I guess I jumped the
Doesn't
gun
love
on
Boys to
your
Men.
I jumped the gun on your answer or on your question a little bit.
No, but you're right.
Um, but no, there are certain
Would you
things I avoid now, like that pop up in my playlist that I just can't. Right, I
right?
just can't.
Would you like a Boys to Men behind the scenes fact that you might not have known? Everybody thinks Michael McCrary left the band because he had back problems. Uh,
No, it was
they kicked him out.
yeah.
You knew that. Okay. Fair
I
enough.
did know that.
All
I
right.
did actually know that. Yes,
Yeah, they kicked him out.
which is why they paid him and then re-recorded all of their songs
Yeah.
so that they didn't have to continue to pay him.
Pay him forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know if
Because
everybody
it's
knew that.
exactly what you do when you cut somebody out of a boy band,
Well, because
or what you should do, because otherwise you're paying that other member for the rest of your life. Look at Destiny's Child;
oh yeah,
they're still
absolutely.
paying. I can't even remember the other girl's name anymore.
Not Michelle Williams, not
Nope, was it Michelle Williams? What was no
Michelle Williams. It
Michelle?
was Kelly Rowland, Michelle Williams, Beyonce, and whoever the fourth one was.
And I can't remember the fourth one. Yeah, yeah,
Nobody can.
and
That's okay.
and that, but that's my point.
But you
That's
know what?
exactly my. But she is at least paid for the rest of her
I was gonna
days
say she
because
is living a
Destiny Child never
pretty.
re-recorded their songs like Boyz II Men did.
As I was gonna say, she is probably living a pretty darn good life in
Hmm.
obscurity. So anyway,
Yep.
that's what was on my mind. Just the idea of that question of better to have and lose than to never have it all, and like how you know music makes you think about things like that. So I know my what's on your mind was kind of lame and self-serving. It is what it is. What's on your mind?
Lame and self-serving. Hmm. It's like my favorite ice cream, vanilla. It's lame and I
Oh,
like.
yeah, with all those flavors, vanilla is kind of boring these days.
Yeah. Well.
You ever go to a party and you show up and they're serving vanilla and you're like, vanilla? It's the best you can do? Can't get a little butter pecan up in this bitch or some rocky road? We're going with straight vanilla? Okay, that's cool. Let me guess, it was the cheapest? That's what we did here?
I'd be that guy. I'd be that guy. I want to give
kind of
you shit
pizza
for it.
kind of pizza did you go with? DiGiorno? So we didn't have to spring for real delivery?
You didn't have to.
So,
The hell, man.
I know.
So what's on my mind is what has been going on for the last less than a week now, and when you also gave me grief over, and that's the World Cup.
Oh, your soccer thing?
I'm glad to see you're also as ecstatic about the World Cup as I am.
Um, I like the World Cup. I watch it, but I had a I can't and again, Americans are getting more and more into soccer. What?
Hmm.
What?
I just realized I missed the beginning of the.
World Cup game?
Yep.
Yep. Um,
Anyway, continue, please.
I realize that Americans are getting more and more into soccer. I mean, you've got where we are, you've got FC Cincinnati, you've got the Columbus Crew, and they do pretty well. But I still don't think American soccer only becomes more mainstream when it's in the Olympics and when it's in the World Cup. Like it still doesn't have that, which is kind of ironic. I've always wondered why soccer is the way it is because the majority of kids, when you're a little kid, you play soccer before you play anything else. But
Hmm.
it just doesn't necessarily grow with everybody, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. But I remember being in I was at a where was I was in Chicago for a like artist event one year when the World Cup was going on. And shocker, my flight out of O'Hare Airport got delayed and the original flight got
No.
canceled. So I was in the airport for what was supposed to be a 7 a.m. flight out. I didn't leave until 6 o'clock that night out of O'Hare. But it was
Hmm.
during the World Cup. So I was just kind of hanging out in the Fox Sports Bar all day because I had nothing else to do. And the World Cup was on. And the majority of Americans would just kind of walk by like it was no big deal. But if you were anybody from another country, they could not get in that bar
Hmm.
fast enough and get a view fast enough to watch what was
Right.
on, which was kind of always wild to me because it's just so. And I mean, again, you people like now like rip on all these like high dollar LeBron James style sports contracts, but World Cup players were getting paid for a lot of years before that. Like David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo have made insane amounts of money playing soccer because it's so big in the rest of the world.
Well, and yeah, you're right. And I guess one of the things that as I've taken a closer look at soccer, because I don't know why I've always gravitated to the World Cup or the Gold Cup. I've just anytime it's world class and it's like country against country, I've been fascinated. And only just probably in the last year have I paid attention to, and I don't even watch like the US soccer. I still love the international. Specifically, I watch La Liga, which is the league that Kylian Mbappe is in.
Okay.
Um, I like, and that has only been in the last year. And I've started to learn about just how soccer works as a whole. Like these dudes like get on these teams and it's interesting to me how your team plays in your league, but then if your team is good enough to win the championship in your specific league, then they can get bumped up and then compete against other, like just the way it's almost like a big worldwide tournament. And I did not know that's how it kind of works. I mean, and I'm being a little loose with how it kind of works, but you can end up on an international scale with your team if they are good enough. And I did not understand that that's kind of how it works. And so, and it's only where you're good enough on your specific team do you get pulled from your team, you get called up
Yeah.
to be on these other international teams. So it's almost like the world is one big farm league, if you will.
Hmm.
And then you get called up to the
That's the best
international
goat. Yeah.
scale, and because of the way that I've learned that's kind of how the journey works, I've I've kind of built a bigger respect for soccer players.
Okay.
It's on a bigger scale than, you know, just in your state and maybe the rest of your specific country, and you know, like the NFL or you know, maybe not so much the NBA and uh not so much the NBA because it's more international now than it
Yeah.
was, or the MLB, where you know you've got guys that come in from other countries, but it's a little tougher to get through. And I guess as a result, I've just had a respect for it. Just I don't know. And in the last couple of years, I've really just paid bigger attention uh, to soccer as a whole. And um, just recently with soccer history, I didn't really understand or realize how huge of a bridge Pele was to soccer to this country.
Oh, for sure.
You know, a lot of people from my generation or our generation just would assume that soccer really just became big in the 90s when USA soccer was actually pretty good. But we all knew the name Pele, but I did not realize that he was such a huge part in soccer becoming popular in the 70s and 80s in this country at that time, or
Yeah.
60s and 70s more.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely grown as far as sports go, but soccer's kind of like hockey. I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't even realize the Stanley Cup was won a few days ago. Because if you're not, you know what I mean? Hockey, it started to migrate in the southern states. Obviously, a southern team just won,
Right.
but for a long time, like hockey was for the New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Minnesota, Canada, like the cold weather states were a
Mm-hmm.
big. I remember when my parents first moved to Phoenix, the Coyotes first started.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to a Coyotes game and like it wasn't a big deal at all. Like it just didn't,
Right.
you know. It's just weird how certain sports just gravitate, you know, certain certain areas or whatever. And I don't know why soccer never got bigger over here. I never understood why, because there's so many kids. I mean, drive by a park on a Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm. And
You know,
they're
it's
packed.
packed.
They're packed with kids playing soccer,
Right.
and it's like it's not just a couple of kids. It's like an entire park. Like there is a park not too far from where we live, and it's a pretty large park, and that park is packed. For like there are three, four, five fields like of kids playing soccer every Saturday morning once it gets warm out.
It was packed tonight. I took Peaches on a walk. She was walking. She likes to listen to Missy Misdemeanor Elliott while she walks too. She was walking. There were a ton of kids playing soccer, like and stuff going on. Like, it's a massive there. It's just for whatever reason I don't understand why. You know, it's not even close to the level of appeal as football, baseball, and basketball hold in this country. Like it's just, and I don't understand. It's just an enigma to me. I don't get it. But the fan bases in places that have it are typically rabid and fanatical about it,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is kind of
And I do have to point out, and I'm sure you've seen videos of this, and most by the time this podcast gets posted, I hope a good amount of people have seen this footage. I posted something about this on my Facebook page the other day of the Japanese fans. I don't know if you saw this, like your look of acquisition, inquisitive.
yeah. I don't think I
You have an inquisitive look.
inquisitive look.
That's what I was trying to say. So you obviously don't know what I'm talking about. So the other night was the first Japan game, and they showed a bunch of Japanese fans with these blue bags, and I can't remember what they said on the bags. I think it said something like "This is Japan" or "We are Japan" or something. But I kind of went, "Oh, that's kind of interesting," and I didn't like. I remember at the time I was watching the game, and the I didn't have the volume up very loud, and I remember hearing the commentator say something about their bags. And it wasn't until the end of the match that I realized what those bags were for. The fans stopped what they were doing and filled the bags with trash.
Oh wow.
And I guess this is something that they do everywhere they go. And I thought, wow, what a true display of class. Like to go
I think I did
somewhere
and pick up after everybody else.
and be picked up after everybody else and filled each one of their bags with garbage before they left. And I thought, man, that is such a cool display of class. You made sure that the place that you were in was in a better condition than when you found it. And I thought that was just it just wowed me. Like things like that really need to happen all over this world.
Well,
Really.
yeah, because everybody, if you go to a stadium, drop it where it is, and they have trash cans everywhere, but
And I'm guilty of it myself. I'll admit, you know,
I think everybody.
but it was just so cool to see that, these people, they don't even live here for the majority of them. You know what I mean? I don't. That's I guess assumptive to say. But still yet as a collective embodiment of people, whether they live here or not, to turn around and take the time to be thoughtful. And I get and to not only see that, to know that that it is a tradition. It's something that they do everywhere they go. I think that is so freaking cool.
No, it is. You don't. It's very something you do not see very often, but I think probably a lot of that is cultural and how
It
they were
is
raised.
because I mean, let's just be honest. As far as um enriched countries go, first world countries go, we are probably one of the dirtiest.
Oh yeah, for sure, hands down, we are.
Our litter laws are a slap on the wrist compared to even Canada. Like living as close to the Canadian border as we did, especially when I was in my teenage years, I spent a lot of time in Canada. And especially when I lived in Detroit, I spent a lot of time in Canada. And I mean, it was night and day. You crossed that border, and it was just
A whole
you
different
could just
world,
see
eh?
it. It was there, yeah, absolutely.
Did you, when you met someone in Canada, did you just immediately pull their shirt over their head, start punching them in the face and the stomach?
Oh, that's the Canadian greeting. You didn't know that?
I
You
thought,
take their Canadian tux and pull it over their head and just start wailing away.
oh, I like Canada. If you told me tomorrow, if there was a radio company in Canada tomorrow that was looking for
Mm,
somebody, I would go work in Toronto or Vancouver
absolutely.
without even giving it much thought. I'd be like, when you need me.
Do you remember our trip to Toronto
Yeah,
with the radio station?
it's fantastic.
So just to kind of set the table a little bit, at one point in time when we worked for a certain broadcast company, things were very good. And as a reward to the some of the people that helped make things really good, we were sent for a weekend to Toronto, like like travel and hotel were paid for, and we went by train from Flint to Toronto, which was a pretty lengthy trip and was a really cool experience. But at the time, this movie just came out on DVD. Do you remember what movie we watched on the train
No,
as we crossed the Canadian border?
no.
The South Park movie.
Oh God.
We did. We did. As the unclassy Americans in public,
Oh
we watched the South Park movie on a portable DVD.
God.
Blame Canada and all.
That's hilarious. I did not realize that. I forgot about
Yes,
that.
we did. Yes, we did. And I
Wow.
remember feeling so guilty the entire time, but think it was so funny. And I can't imagine how people had to have felt
Right.
being around us.
Ugh.
We are a-holes as Americans. That's really what I'm getting at. Like here we are talking about one country cleaning up after themselves, cleaning up a mess they didn't even necessarily make.
Yeah.
And here we are, the Americans.
Yeah, we're lazy in general. I can't tell you how many times I've went to grocery stores and I see someone's Starbucks cup sitting on a shelf, like because they were
Hmm.
too lazy to throw it away while they were shopping, so they just set it on the shelf for somebody else to deal with.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and it is irritating.
Very much so. All right. Well, World Cup.
I think that's pretty much on my mind, and yeah, I mean, no matter what country you are rooting for, I hope USA wins.
I'm really pulling for Uruguay.
You know what? Uruguay was they have won over some hearts. Was it Uruguay that beat Spain last night?
I think so.
Whoever it was that beat Spain, they went from like 50,000 followers to like 5 million in a matter of minutes, which was pretty cool. Which pretty cool.
I like
And I
Uruguay.
think that's a kind of what I was getting at in the first place is you've got some small countries who are who managed to make it to the tournament and are attempting to make some big noises, and I think that's pretty cool too.
I don't disagree with you. I think it is kind of cool. Everybody likes an underdog.
And you pulled my black card for liking the World Cup, but I also want to point out that there are quite a few African nations in the World Cup this year. So
Sure. It's okay. You're allowed to watch. You're allowed to like soccer.
am I?
Yeah, of course.
Am
All the
I?
things. I mean, you can like anything you want. I know you like soccer.
I
Barry
do.
Manilow.
I do not.
You know, it's okay. It's cool.
You want to know my favorite Barry Manilow song?
Copacabana, and I say that because that's the only one I know.
It's the State Farm jingle.
Oh,
He wrote the State Farm jingle.
I did not know that.
70s.
Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
If you asked me to Barry
educated in the
Manilow,
music.
if you asked me to go see Barry Manilow in concert, I'd be like, nah.
I think that's about where I draw the line. Like I'm at the age. It's funny. I was just having a conversation about this not long ago with somebody I know. I'm at the age now where just about anybody in concert, if you said, "Hey, I want to see so and so in concert. Do you want to go?" I'd be like, "Yeah, you know what? Why not? Why not?" I'm just kind of at that point in time that in such a music lover that I would be down to see just about anybody. And I think Barry Manilow is just about where I draw that line.
We got yelled at one day because we were making fun of Kenny Rogers. Because I'm like, why do people still go see him? He sits down for the entire show, and then he'll like stand up for 3 notes during the entire concert. And I'm like, but again, take the late great Kenny Rogers out of the equation. You know who I would never go see? Because I think it would be the most boring 2 hours of my life. Mariah Carey. It would. All I can picture is her changing dresses to some ridiculously overpriced dress 17 times over the course of the concert and hitting that ridiculous glass breaking high note any chance she could get. And I would be bored out of my mind because all of her songs are slow. You know, it's the concert you wouldn't have to stand up for. I'd be like, yep, I'm on my phone scrolling in my seat.
I would see much, much, much younger Mariah before she realized that she was a diva. Mariah. Like I would see like early Mariah. Yes, I absolutely would. But now, hell no. I don't know if you could pay me.
No, that would be like the most boring 2 hours of my life that I couldn't get back. Yeah.
She's just one of those people that's just a little, way too stuck on themselves.
I have a Mariah Carey story, but I'll save that for another day.
Ooh.
On that note, there's soccer on, and it's to be watched. So we will catch up again.
There is.